Okay. Very terrible. Hey, you guys, it's your girl Jay, and welcome, welcome, welcome. We're about to get into this right here. I've been waiting for a while, you guys, is to do this video as it relates to webcam modeling and understanding that it is a commission-based gig, a commission-based job. I've said that for many, many, many years, y'all. And so welcome, welcome, welcome for those that may be popping in, showing up. I have on my glasses today, so yay. So I want to get into it. I'm going to be using my chat GBT Stacy as my help. As my help as it relates to just going down the list. Keep in mind, you guys, for those that are just now tuning in, my name is Jelena Nails. I have been an online fetishist for over 16 years in the business of webcam modeling and other various parts of soft adult entertainment. Soft, heavy on the soft, or light on the soft, right? And so I mentored women back in the day. And I had many, many questions asked to me. I had those money questions asked to me. And for those that are just now tuning in, keep in mind, I don't really deal with, numbers too well, as I do have dyscalculia, that's what I call it, but a learning disability with numbers. So for those that, have asked me throughout the years, how much money can you make and all of these things. The irony is that this whole video, I'm going to be talking about numbers. I'm going to be talking about how numbers, how you can see numbers, or how do you see this particular job as a commission-based job, as I've said again many, many years. Because I think sometimes with webcamming, you see the glitz, you see the glamour, you see the sexy, you see the playful, you see women chasing the bag, wanting the bag, getting the bag, whatever the case may be, right? People are wanting to just financially win. I think that's the first motivation for most women and men, because there are cam guys too joining this industry. As I've always said, I never got in the business because of money. That's the secondary or thirdary, but not my first initial reason for getting into the business. Was not because of how much money can I make, or those type of things. It was more so, how can I be playful, sexy, safe, entertain men, entertain myself, and just really let my creative energy flow, my creativeness flow. And so that's why I've been in it so long, because it really caters to, I get something out of the deal more than just money, right? So it really does cater to me and my overall well-being. I know that may sound a little strange for some. Also keep in mind, I am geared more towards the non-nude category. That's not to say that there's a difference between getting naked and the difference between being nude, right? So I definitely, and forgive the lighting in the back, y'all, but I definitely put myself in a position, little cam girl humor, position to sit erect and be erect in the industry. And again, that's not to say that I have never done a nude show. That's not to say I've never done anything, naughty and playful and sexy. I mean, boobs are my thing. I always often say I'm a boobs up kind of girl, for the most part. So with that being said, I like to dive deeper on the psychology and the spirituality, right, y'all? This in as it relates to creativity and as it relates to sexuality. That's something that I really like to dive into. And keep in mind, if I keep looking over here, you guys, I'm doing this from my Chromebook, and I think it's been a while since I've actually did a live stream from my Chromebook. I normally do it from my mobile, but again, we're going to be using chat GBT as to talk about again, looking at webcam modeling as a commission-based job, and not looking at it as so much the glitz, the glam. And there are many models, and this is no shade to other models, but there are many models that put it out there that, oh, you can make this much money. So the focus is money. I'm not denying that, but most do not talk about the psychological aspects of it as much, because that's not in fact, when I used to mentor, and I got to say this, when I used to mentor women, one thing that stopped me or put a halt to me mentoring women, primarily young women, was because no matter how much I tried to encourage them and to let them understand that you don't have to bust it wide open. You don't have to do anything that you don't feel comfortable doing. Most young women and women, even some older, they didn't care. They may not even prefer to bust it wide open. They didn't care. That was the attitude. Well, hell, I'm in the business, and I like to give a mention of that's not by accident. I mean, obviously, it is the adult entertainment field. It is pornographic. It is just that, right? You guys keep in mind, I'm coming from TikTok. So if you hear me say terms like corn, pornography, if you hear me say segs, because you can't say certain things over on TikTok, just bear with me. That's what there means. Segs means sex. Corn means the P word, right? So we had to, and that's why I'm here with y'all right now. So let's get into it. So the first thing I wanted to do when getting help from my chat GBT Stacy is I wanted to make sure and ensure that we all understood what a commission-based job was. So the first thing I wanted to say or ask, of course, Stacy helped me with this. Chat, what does commission mean? Okay, it's very important. What does commission mean? I already knew what it meant, but I'm going to be also diving into how is it compared to also any type of other sales job, right? So we'll get into that a little bit as we go along. So, but the first thing is to know, what is a commission-based job? What does that mean? Commission means you only get paid when money is spent. No sale, no pay. Everybody got that? How camming is commission-based. Money comes from tips. We're talking about being a webcam model, that is. Money comes from tips, privates, purchases, right? That means when the men come onto your broadcast and they tip you in free chat, for those that are just now starting out, you should possibly already know what free chat is, but just as a brief description, free chat is literally right here. As you guys see me sitting on YouTube, you see the chat box, that would be considered free chat. And so you guys can send me gifts. So you would be, what's it called? Super chats over here on YouTube. Super chats are pretty much the same thing as receiving gold and or tokens or diamonds or whatever tokens over on any particular type of website, right? Webcam modeling site. So that's where you get your money. That's where you get your tips coming in. You can get those in free chat, and that's what it's called in webcam modeling. So again, money comes from tips and privates. What are privates? Privates are when you are taking out a free chat. Imagine sitting here at YouTube, right? And somebody said, oh, I just want to chit chat with you, Jelena, just you and me. I want us to go to a private room. What would happen is this would close out. You guys will no longer see my face right here. And then the system or the YouTube would take me over, you and me would go over into a paid private session while right here, this particular screen that you're looking at would be closed off. It'll say something like, Jelena or Exotica Worship is in a private session. It won't tell who's I'm in the private session with, but it'll say I'm in a private session. And so for all of y'all that are sitting in the free chat, they're sitting there, you guys, some people will leave, some people will wait around till a person gets out of their private session, right? Just waiting for the opportunity to, move forward. So keep that in mind, that when it comes down to it, you just might be, again, that's what privates are. You will be taken into a private. So when you hear me say taken into a private, that means that someone has came and requested and or purchased time spent with me by myself and there's different types of privates, but I don't really want to get into that right now. We'll come back on that later. But to say the least, someone has paid, right? So money comes from, as a webcam model, your money comes from tips, privates, and purchases. Purchases is content. Any content that kind of like OnlyFans, any content that you create and that you can make money off of on the site when you're asleep, that would be considered purchases, like content purchases. Let's say you have a guy come through and you want to do a custom video for him for like, let's just say $50. You're going to do that custom video. He wanted you to twinkle your toes and, walk in a water puddle, whatever. That's a custom video, a foot fetish video. So with that being said, what you would do is make that video, depending on how the site you're working on works out, because I don't want to get ahead of myself, because there's so many different ways certain sites have their interface where you can interact with the guys as it relates to your content. But I'm not going to go there. So all I'm simply saying is that means those are the purchases that are offline. When you're offline, these are the ones that the man will come through, or woman or people or couple will come through and say, I like that. Let me go ahead. And she already has some stuff right there. And as a sidebar, you guys, I have no purchases. I barely I barely. Sometimes I just get so sick and tired of myself, y'all, because I've been in this business so long, and I have yet to have this overflowing content. Where, because again, a lot of my guys ask me, "Hey, Goddess," they will email me, they will DM me, they will leave me offline messages asking, "Goddess, where are you? I miss you. I want to serve you." Which simply means they want to pay me. I want to do this, but where are you? And again, if I had content available for them that they could purchase, that wouldn't be an issue. But again, that was just a sidebar. Moving forward. So we already understand that your money comes from tips, privates, and purchases. Okay. I forgot to ask you guys to get a pen and write it down, but you can always rewind. The second part is free chat. If you look at free chat, you look at it like the sales floor. So I'm going to get in the way now and talking about and comparing it to me as being a telemarketer. Back in the day, y'all, I was a telemarketer. I was into home improvements, right? So I set as an opener, I set as an appointment setter. That means that I was a person that called up people and bugged them on the phone, soliciting y'all. I would get on the phone and I would say, "Hello, Miss Jones. We're going to be in the area. We're going to be doing estimates on a roof. I was wondering if I could make an appointment for you between 2 and 3. Will you be home?" And asking again, if she's married, will you and the mister be home? Because again, when signing those contracts back in the day, and even now, if people are married, and some of y'all know this, right? I just got to throw this in the bucket. We had to make sure that both the husband and the wife was home, right? And so even though the wife may have wanted her kitchen done or whatever, we often had to clarify and verify that the husband not only did say yes, but he too would be home when the sales guy goes out there and makes that sales pitch, right? Based on the appointment that I set. So it was my job to make sure that that appointment was solid. How is this compared to webcam modeling? It's important that you make sure, right, to some degree, it's not as hard as telemarketing or outside sales, but make sure that when you take that guy or that guy takes you over in a private, that he is willing to actually purchase. He's not just, and most times if they do, they taking you over. If you've gotten over in a private, it's because usually they can see your prices. There have been some men that don't pay attention to no prices. They don't read nothing, and they just see you as a pretty face, and they want you, they desire you, and they're like, "Hey, I'm gonna," you just get brought over into a private, and they're like, "Okay, what's up?" Then they want you to lead, and that's a whole nother topic where you got those men who will take you in a private who will pay, but they're sitting waiting for you to lead them, right? And as me being a soft dom in the business, I have to ask questions. I have to ask questions to know what you're into. Because if you take me over in a private and we haven't had a rapport over in free chat, then how am I going to know what you're into? How am I going to know what you like? How do you know if what you like, I even offer that and or okay with that, right? So I just had to put that out there. So moving down the list. So basically in telemarketing, you guys, what I would do, you have to look at, like I said, free chat as the sales floor. This is where where all the guys, the freeloaders, the ones who have monies, the ones that don't have monies, the ones that's bored, the ones that are married, this is where everybody shows up, right? Free chat. Just like right here as I'm live, there's probably going to be many people that will show up in free chat. Nobody's showing them now, but that's okay. But which I'm glad. I'm glad I don't have that many viewers in this live at all, because I'm like, oh, I could just free flow, because otherwise I probably get distracted and lose my place. So thank you, Jesus. Anywho, so free sales floor. This is where people come in. This is where some people leave. This is where some people stay. This is where few spend, just like I said earlier. So consider your free chat as the sales floor, right? So you're like, okay, imagine you were to make it more relatable to you guys. Imagine you walking in Home Depot. I don't know why that came to me, y'all. Just saying. You're walking in Home Depot. That's the sales floor. You got people that are there, or you're walking into the Mac store. You get what I'm saying? Some of those Mac makeup people, if I'm not mistaken, they are on a what's it called, commission base as well, right? You guys, they get paid hourly, and then they might get a tip or whatever if they get someone to buy a particular lipstick or something like that. Y'all can help me with it, because I don't know. You see, so that's the sales floor. You walking into Mac is the sales floor. Some people, the person that's there, the makeup artist, he understands, she understands, they understand that, okay, some people are they already know, they already have an eye, right? They already have an eye to know that in fact, there is a saying in sales called buyers are liars. That means that no matter how much that buyer walks in or supposedly buyer comes onto that floor and go, oh my God. And I've been a buyer and liar person. Trust me. I walked into certain places and go, oh my God, I like this so much. How much is it? I'm excited. I'm sure the sales rep is like, oh my God, okay, this is going to be a good sell for me. And then I walk out and I'm like, I don't know. I don't think I want it. Thanks for the thumbs up, by the way. And it's like, no, I don't think that I really want it. Or are you open on Friday? Tell me how I know this to be true. Because even in the webcam modeling, when a man, let me tell you, y'all, when a guy comes through and says these famous words to me, when he's like, are you going to be on later on tonight? I know we're not going into private. He ain't spending no money. What do you mean? That's like going again into Mac or going into the mall or going into a store going, what time do you guys close? You guys gonna be open till 10? I'll be back. That's why buyers are liars. You hear what I'm saying? So even in this business, you got men that say, hey, what time are you on? When do you come back? If I'm being honest, and it's 16 years I've been in this business, has a man ever returned when he said he would return? Unless he's my regular, but just a guy that I had never actually, and he comes on, no. No. Think about it like it sells. When have you ever told somebody when you walked into a particular store, hey, I'll be back on Tuesday, and you don't come back on Tuesday? And it ain't because you're a bad guy or bad girl, whatever. It's because life happens, right? So I don't really hold that against them. But again, understanding that, again, webcam modeling is a commission-based job. People may mean to spend. They may give you compliments and say how pretty you are. They may do all of that and really mean well, and you still ain't made your money. Okay, let's make it plain English. And you're like, damn. And how I know this is a true thing is because even out in real life, when I walked into stores and I could almost sense that there's this person that was hoping that I would be the person that help them reach their financial goal, and I'm the one to walk away. They have an attitude. They're either sad, because I know what that feels like as an ex-telemarketer and saleswoman. And I know what it feels like being a webcam model. I know what it feels like when it feels so promising, y'all. Oh, yesterday, let me tell you, yesterday felt so freaking promising to me. And the day before on Sunday, I worked for 12 hours, not 16, by the way. I worked for 12 hours straight, taking an hour and a half break. And guess what? I only got how much was my private? I think I only made in the beginning, right before it hit 6 p.m., because I logged off at 8 p.m., 8:30, I didn't make but $37 until about 6 p.m. And that I logged on at 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. and $37. I was like, oh baby, it was hard. It was rough for me because I was so like, I got up at 5 a.m. I was so determined. I was like, hell yeah, I'm doing this. That was something that I had never really, I'm getting my mojo back. I'm 49 years old, y'all. I've been in this thing too long. I was like, bet I'm gonna get up and I'm gonna see what I can do. And then I got beside myself because I was like, ooh, 5 o'clock in the morning. And this is what really got me, y'all. Because again, in compared to sales, I don't care how many potential customers you see or have come through. You can have 100 people. Let's go with 10 with me and my numbers. You could have 10 people come through, right? And guess what? Out of them 10, you probably only get a half a sale. And when I say a half a sale, I just mean it may not go through. Now, just as a sidebar, you guys, for those that saw Wolf on Wall Street, please tell me you saw Wolf. If you haven't, Cam Girl, please go watch that. There's a lot going on with Leonardo DiCaprio in that movie, right? Jack done came a long way from Titanic. But what I'm saying is that is a great way of just seeing that hustle culture, that grind, that, got to get in there and get it, which I'm not, right? I never was a woman who was a hard sales woman. This is why I call the business I'm in, as I sit, as soft adult entertainment. Soft, easygoing, sexy, seductive, sensual, right? That's just how I want to flow. I don't want to rush. I don't want to be told what to do, how to do it. I don't give a damn how much a man has paid me. So what? I have to feel comfortable. And I think that I must say that, right? So the telemarketing comparison, here it is, y'all. So you're talking to many people. When I was in telemarketing, right, we would get these leads. And if you're familiar with telemarketing or any type of sales, we would get these leads, this long sheet of paper back in the day. And this was before social media and anything like that. And this, we had to slam those phones. I'd get on the phone, y'all, and I would slam those phones. You calling about 100 people in an hour, if that or whatever. And then they upgraded, and then you got this, they had this computer, was like a dialer, and it would dial the numbers for you, so you didn't have to push the buttons yourself. And to say the least, you're talking to over 100 people a day going, hello, Miss Jones. In my case, hello, Miss Jones, welcome to Home Improvements. I just was calling to see if you'd be available for an estimate today. Hopefully you're having a great day. Hopefully your day is going well. I just wanted to make sure you're good, because we'll be in the area. We'll be in the neighborhood. Now, with that being said, in telemarketing, they give you a script, right? And they always say these famous words. If you look at Wolf on Wall Street, they always tell you, don't veer off the script. Don't veer off the script. But knowing me with my neurodivergent brain, I cannot read things rigidly. I can't be boom, 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 boom. It has to have flavor in there. Okay, it has to have seasoning. If it don't have seasoning, I feel like I'm not being authentically me, right? So my biggest thing in telemarketing was going down that long list. And mind you, out of 100 people, I had to get solid leads. We're not talking about leads, maybe if, and then some people in the business would just put something on the board. Another thing to be considered as a webcam model, if let's say you're logging in at 8 a.m., even in comparison to telemarketing, what I used to do, most telemarketers, what you want to do, you want to get that first lead, that first private, in our case, you want to get that first solid lead on the board, right? You want to just get that on the board because you're like, okay, I'm a need to know by the time I go to lunch, I got something on the board. And depending on the sales floor or the sales environment you're working under, you can feel the pressure that if you don't get at least 2 leads on the board, they firing you. The difference is with webcam modeling, you can relax. Okay, you're not going to get fired if you don't make the board, if you don't get your private that before lunch and all that stuff, right? You don't got to worry about it. And I see your comment that says, what did you say here, Red Lips? Yes, this happened to me this Sunday. I streamed from 8 a.m. this Sunday until about 9 p.m. Only made $35, but we'll keep going. Absolutely. That's how you got to do it. You have to, Red. You have to, but even though I'm saying in this energy, you still do it in your own pace, right? This is not a hurried rush thing. You don't have to feel, again, like I just said, you're not going to get fired. So if anything, I felt this Sunday, I felt just kind of like, what the entire hell, right? I felt like and really what kind of, I won't say pissed me off, but made me really frustrated was the fact that the guys came in complimenting, right? And as we know in this business, it's the same thing like going to the Mac store, or being a telemarketer. Let me tell you, again, in the comparison, I've had people, I can't tell you how many folks that I would get on the phone and they would say, oh my God, my name is Janae and my business name or stage name is Jelena Nails, right? But my name is Janae anyway. So they'd be like, Janae, you sound like such a sweet girl. You sound like such a sweet woman. You know what? Just lock me in and, I'll be sure you're the one that I could ask for. Now, mind you, these people are saying this with us already knowing they're not going to need work on their house until, I don't know, 6 months down the road or a year. So by that time, I'm not going to probably be, which I'm not, I'm not going to be here. And so my point is that was frustrating because they're complimenting me. They'll compliment you, Cam girl, right? They'll tell you how pretty you are. You're so sexy. Wow. When are you going to be on? When are you going to come back? Because, I do really like you. And again, to help me not get like F these ninjas, right? I have to understand like people sometimes just hop on to see us, right? They might have their wife or their girlfriend just downstairs. The children may have just came in. Grandma may have just stopped by and they're like, oh shoot, damn grandma, and they have to go. They have to, because life is life and outside of us, right? So that's the only way for me to kind of like be like, okay, it's not as bad. It's frustrating as hell. So again, going down the list. So think about it like this, y'all. Opener versus closer. We are both. Remember that. Remember that, Red, if you're still here. We are both. We are both closer and we are both opener. So in telemarketing, I was good at opening, but not that great at closing. But I was good at opening. That means I'm the person on the phone setting those appointments. I'm an appointment setter. So I'm on the phone. Hey, Miss Jones, we're going to stop by 2 or 3 o'clock. You coming through, or we're coming through. I would often say, have the lemonade sitting out for us because it's summer. And it's hot out here in Cali, right? I throw that little sweetness in there, and they'd be like, ha, 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 ha. And so and so that would be cool, right? And I would make that solid lead. Now this is where in telemarketing it differs, because now the sales guys go out there, right? And now I got to do this and hope to God that my solid lead gets sold by the sales guy, right? So now I got to have my faith in God, Jesus, and the salesman, and be like, please, 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 Joe, let's say his name is Joe. Joe, please make sure that when you go out there, Joe, this is what she wants. The husband will be there. Everybody, everything's intact. Their finances are A plus. Supposedly, they really want these windows. They really do want it. And ain't nothing like them bum suckers going out there, Red. I'm telling you, or whoever's going to be listening at this replay, going out there, and then the sell guys flops your shit. The sell guys like, damn, right? But in cam modeling, we are both the opener. Hi, you boys. Is my thing. Hi, you boys. How you doing? Right. And then my job is to also close the deal. Get them on over there in the private. Okay. 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 Ooh, we're getting somewhere. And when we hear that bell go off, depending on what site you're on, and it goes ding dong, whatever it does, then you're like, whew, okay, that the hard part is over. Right. And so we are both, again, the opener and the closer. Now, the difference, again, we're going to go with the opener versus closer. Your presence is the opener as a webcam model. The way you present yourself, your pretty face, your exotic look, your what fetish stuff you got going on, whatever it is you got going on that represents you, whether it's your feet in the camera, your face in the camera, in my case, my nails in the camera, making sure that I take those pictures that are boom, boom, boom. So when guys see my, what's that called? My it's not profile picture, my snapshot, they'll be able to see, boom, this is what they're working with, right? And yeah, so my presence, how I show up. And then the closer part is my ability to convert a watcher, looker, freeloader, even, which you're not going to be able to convert no freeloader. Freeloaders they stand on business. Okay. Anyway, distractions. This is a thing I think, and this is what I want to ask you, Red, if you're still here. If you're still here, Red, tell me on your Sunday, since we here, what was if you can be honest, was there any distractions on your Sunday? Because there were a few on mine. I went live with you guys, I watched a little movie. I scrolled a little bit, maybe a little bit too much, being honest, right? And so those are the things you got to pay attention to, and then say, okay, when the next day come on, and then be able to have so much self-awareness to say, okay, where did I not necessarily mess up, but where could my focus have been a little bit more, right? And so for me, I was live with you guys. So and I have a goal to reach. I don't think I've ever had more of a goal to reach than I ever have, which is interesting, because when you focus, it's kind of a twisted thing. When salespeople and getting the bag teaches you that whole what's it called? Community of people teach you grind, hustle, the grind culture. So it puts it out there that you have to get it. It has to be done, especially if you have bills, right? Especially have bills that you need to be paid. You got diapers for that baby, whatever you'll think. Trust me, I've been in this too long. I was in it since my children were small. Okay, diaper money, 99-cent money, phone money, whatever your own responsibilities are, you trying to make that money, right? And so with that being said, here comes the pressure, right? The pressure is on. And what did you say? A little bit looking at my phone, a bit. Okay, a bit is not bad, right? A bit is not bad at all, because, I mean, you know what I noticed with a little bit of distraction, it makes you human, right? So one thing I have learned from the beginning of time being in this business, you have to, especially being that it sells, you have to be in that place where you're like, you know what? I have to make it where I'm human. I mean, because the guys want to see that. The guys want to see, okay, it's obvious people are social media, scrolling. In fact, there is a place of seduction, right? Where some men, not all men, but some men are drawn to women that look like they are busy, look like they are minding their business, look like they really they don't mind being distracted or disturbed, but you get what I'm saying? So to some men, they're like, hey, darling. And I noticed that the men that see me kind of maybe on my phone or in my hair or putting on lipstick, whatever, it all has to tie in there to where it's still in the back of your mind. You're like, you understand, you stay present. Does that make sense? Like you're not so scrolling on your phone to where you're like, oh shit, whoa, what happened here? And oh my God. And you like, you can't, you have to be, hiya boys. And oh, I was just checking on some messages I had earlier. You see, you can get them involved in it even, and be like, oh, I just was looking at some pictures I took earlier. I'm not sure if I had the right lipstick on. Right. Anything that again ties them into the conversation so that they don't feel excluded out of it. But if you're just like, damn, no, she got the nerve to be wearing that. Why in the hell is she? Or you got that stank face and you're looking like, or you're just like excited. You're like, oh my God. And if you're looking like you're more excited about what's going on here than there, they're going to go, right? God knows I know. So moving forward, oh, this is a good one too, Red, is so we understand opener versus closer, the distraction we just talked about. Let's talk about chargebacks, because back in the day, when I used to cam, if a man or person came on, let's just say he a 20-year-old still living at home with his mama, wanted to come on and see cam models. He stole his dad credit card, whatever, or his somebody else's credit card, and he charged it. Well, the back in the day, you would not make that money because it's fraudulent. So what the campsites would do is be like, I'm so sorry, girls, we had a whole lot of chargebacks. So let's just say you were trying to reach your goal, and based on what site you're on, if your minimum is $100 and somebody did a chargeback of $5, right, then you're gonna be like, damn. I'm telling you what I know. You're gonna be like, this son of a gun that messed up my whole whatever. So nowadays, what websites do, they take it out of their own pocket, so to speak. They're like, I'm not gonna be. We're not going to do this to the women or the models, right? We're going to make sure that we just cover whatever chargeback. And thank you, Jesus, that is there. So let me just go in and see pretty much what Stacy or my chat GBT says. She says, sometimes payments get reversed. Sites now usually cover it, so models still get paid. Like I just said, soft sales versus aggressive sales. And this is the part I was saying earlier. You have to also determine as a webcam model, are you a soft sell girly? Or are you an aggressive sell girly? In other words, I've watched models before where they're like, and I'm going to use this term just to get to the point. The down for whatever models, to me, they're the hard sells. They're like, I don't care, twerk something. I'm on the pole. I'm this, I'm doing it, da. Right? That's their energy. They're like, okay, come on, guys, come on. They're with the hustle culture. They're bringing it in. They're like, come on. And they're like, okay. And then they're making them that money. But what I notice is that they make it frequently, but in small doses. Does that make sense? And I don't know what type of model you are. And sometimes you can be in between, and sometimes it could depend on the damn day, right? But as for me, I'm definitely a soft model, right? I don't want to be rushed. I don't want you to tell me, you can't make me stand up. Even though that's why I have it in my tip menu that men have to tip me 3 gold, or what is it on Strip Chat? It's tokens, whatever. Is it token gold? Okay, it's tokens. They have to tip me 3 tokens for me to stand. And I think y'all do. And by the way, you guys, there is a thing called a tip calculator for those that like anything like me and your brain is weird with those numbers. Online, you could look up a tip calculator and they will calculate your tokens for you. So depending on what site you're on, especially if you're on a site that doesn't tell you right away that, okay, you made $20. But if you're with a token-based site, which most sites are, you will have to then go and kind of figure it out. And that used to get so frustrating for me. It still does, because again, the way my brain works with numbers. So moving down the list. So basically, like Stacy was giving me a note to tell you guys, is that not everyone is a Wolf on Wall Street type of seller and or model, right? Not everybody. Some of us are more soft, more natural, more energy based, and that works too in camming. So I want to put the emphasis there. So as it relates to, again, going back to telemarketing, it's so important that you guys see it again as a commission-based job. You can sit there all day, nothing but tumbleweeds, or you can sit there all day and the guys are interacting with you so good. Oh, you're 53. Oh, I heard that. So Red, you already know. Yes, ma'am. You already know premenopausal, menopause, literally pause, like, hold on. And I there's a place where I appreciate where I'm at as being an older woman because I can relax. And the beautiful thing about these men, I think because we're older, I could be wrong, but the younger ones, but it's the energy in which I feel, they expect us to go slow. Not like slow, like, oh, I'm granny. I can barely make it up the steps. Not that. But they expect us to know our shit. They expect us to move with ease and take our time and not be rushed because we are older and mature enough to know, hey, you don't know, right? I think they have that understanding. But I think when I deal with my 40 plus, I'll say 35 and plus older guys, they are more, I'm gonna just go with 40 and over. They're more, uh, aggressive, rude, not rude, but just, I don't know, I guess they tired too. So it's different. What has yours been your experience on that, Red? Have you noticed that the younger ones seem to be, they can, in my case, they don't, I guess because they often, I've never met a, let's say 19, 20-year old Dom. I mean, hardcore Dom. Usually they want the guidance. Either he's a complete submissive or a puppy, or he just want the guidance. Like, okay, because, and he's expecting that because I'm older, I can give him that. Right. And so with that being said, there's definitely a place of where I feel more in control because I am, where he will honestly let me lead. And that's in any part of what I'm saying. Like he will just let me lead the show. Like if I tell him to do this, like if I say let's go private now. We're doing this now. We're not waiting another second. Let's go. And he's like, yes, got it. And he goes, right? Versus the older ones tend to be just like in real life, just like dating. The older, this is why my daughter have often said, and I got to say this as a sidebar. She has often said, Mom, you need to date younger, like maybe not 19, 20, but I need to date younger guys. And because these old, she calls them fossilites. She's like, Mom, please stop dating fossilites. Like the 50 plus guys, 60 plus guys, because they are just, that's a whole nother topic. But anyway, so that's the take on, again, being a webcam model, which I'm gonna come back through and talk about a little bit more on being 40 and over, because it shows up differently. It definitely does. I think I'm definitely different from what I used to. I don't say different, but life has been lifing for those that know my personal story, right? But just generally speaking, it cam modeling has definitely taught me about people. So did telemarketing, because people can say what they want, see what they want, and then reality hits you. And they got to check their bank account. Let's make it plain English. A lot of times in this business, people have to look and see. Okay, I like what I see. I want what I want, but I really don't have the means and the money, or I really don't have it like that. And what really, really makes me upset about this industry, not the industry, but the freeloaders that show up, they are expecting, right. They're expecting the ones that are the big tippers. And I know you've seen this in your shows. How long you been camming, Red? They will expect the guy that is tipping to ride on his coattail, and to give the free show. This is why, if I had it my way, I swear to God, if I had it my way, I I tried to own a studio back in the day. I'm just saying, but if I really had it my way, I wouldn't allow women to. There would be no free chat. there would be no. There would be. I don't know how exactly that do. It wouldn't be as much freedom, I would say, in free chat. And what's interesting is that they now have it where you can block out those guys. Like right now, and I love it that I can block out folks that don't have credit cards. It tells you, right? When the beginning, I don't know if you know, Red, but you can go through your what's it called, profile, and be like, okay, do you want people who have already credit cards on files, or do you have those that are already members, or those that have already basically showed that they've paid on the site? Or do you want the actual payers and buyers, or do you want people that you have to convince to come over? And I think on certain sites, they suggest that you kind of leave that open, because you can turn buyers into liars, or liars into buyers, maybe. And I'm thinking, that's too much energy in my space to, I don't say waste on somebody that they're really there to get the free show. And again, we have to remember the nature of this business is sex. The nature of the business is sexual. So any little bitty thing that these men, any little bitty thing that they can get their rocks off to, they're already getting it. They're already getting it. So I had to learn the very hard way, no pun intended, a little cam girl cam girl humor. I had to learn the very hard way, y'all, to to make sure that I don't pay attention to those that don't have money. That's just, I don't know how else to say it. Oh, I got to the point. I got to the point very quickly on that, but not paying attention to those, because there has been times I have logged into work and there has been high tipping men that are actually tipping me, and my focus will go over to the quote unquote loser and go over to him and argue with him, or hey, just have a dispute with him, when the guys that are buying or paying or showing genuine interest are over here going, hey, who's this joker over here? Like, what's up? Yo, do you all know each other personally? I don't know if that makes sense, right? Because that's how it could feel. Because you, yes, you can. You got. What are you saying, Red? Regarding the making sure they are that I don't know what site you're on, but I'm on StreamMate, and StreamMate, most of them do give you an option of, again, whether you want paid guys or guys that have already paid on the site, or do you just want everybody to come on and have full access to your free chat, basically, where those are the ones that comment. So I'm also on strip chat, and what I do now that I learned my lesson, I close that out. I close out that option. Like I don't and what I like about strip chat, it's in colors. They're based on the color that the guys show up, right? Just kind of like right here, I got you, or it shows that you're number one with the little crown and everything. So yay, right? And so I don't know if the chat will go on further and other people will come on, and then they would be number 4, number 5, and number 6, and number 10. You get me? But you're number 1. So how it works in strip chat is that based on the colors, who has money or who has spent money, right? Who has stayed posh, who has stayed top tier on that particular site. So there is purples, grays, yellows or gold, greens, reds. Reds, I think, are the top. Reds and purples are the top guys that have spent, I'm assuming, thousands on the site, right? And then you got your grays. Grays are completely, they ain't got no color. That's just bland, They have not spent anything. All they did was sign up for the site. You see them? They've never spent anything. Then I think you got browns. Browns are like right above grays, which simply means, and I'm using strip chat as an example, but just showing you how, I don't know how other sites do it. I think StreamMate also does it by numbers. 1, 2, especially if they're my regulars. If they've had me before, they become my number 1 or my number 2 or my number 3, something like that. So what I've had to learn how to do throughout this business is make sure that I just don't spend, just like real life, right? That I don't spend too much time with the losers, with the brokies. I'm just saying it, because it is what it is. Even though I'm not a webcam model that's chasing the bag, I often say it ain't a bag, it's a coin purse. Like, so even if I just want a coin purse, I need to focus on the ones that's going to give me the type of coins and change that I want for my coin purse, right? And not pay attention so much to the ones that don't, Yeah, you have to, you update that. Since we're talking about update your prices. It's 2026. If you haven't, update your prices, update your profile, update, just go through your profile, like do a little cleansing, or go through a little spring. Since we're in spring, right? Do some spring cleaning and kind of throw out the stuff that you don't need, or and see where everything is flowing. Maybe even for me, I was thinking about sending out an email to my regulars and saying, hey guys, I just want to say thank you for your appreciation, for just, coming through and being loyal to me in that respect. Because especially in my case, I remember I was van girl, cam girl. So even when I was homeless, I still cam. Camming has been with me no matter what I've gone through in life for 16 years. A lot has happened in my personal. So, and there were some of my guys, my regulars, who knew my story too. These are still human beings. These are still men. Boys will be boys. But to say the least, I even have on one of my, over on strip chat, as I am long nail goddess, I have what's it called? A place where men can tip me. specifically as it relates to them showing me love because I am no longer homeless. They're where they literally says, "Congratulations, goddess. We're so proud of you." And they can tip, I think it's like 100 tokens to show love, 50 or 100, just to show that love. And that's in my tip menu, right? And so my stuff can be personal and it can be business, but again, I have to be me is what I'm saying. And one way to do that is how my profile is set. Like the little clip that I sent, I do readings I do what's called, can I say this right here? I think I can say this at YouTube. I'm gonna just spell it. I do COCK readings because I'm a certified reader. I'm a certified palm reader. Been reading for years too. So it's the only place. I don't even do it in social media, but it's the only place where I feel safe and secure, which is weird, to do my C readings there. And so it's no different than your JOI or when they do the RATE, my CO, And so if you think about it logically, because I'm creative like that, and you put that together, then you understand, especially if you're an intuitive. I'm already intuitive. So can I look at a man's private parts and go, I could tell he steals. I could definitely tell he steals. Oh yeah, he's a thief, all right. You know what I'm saying? I don't know, or go, oh my gosh, like. And what's interesting is that I was just doing it just to see, because I needed to practice my gift, and the feedback that I had from so many men is just interesting, because I never thought I'd have men go, yeah, I like that. I'd like to see what's going on with my future through my region down there. And of course, some men are going to take it naughty and sexy, and because it's the nature of the business. But even in that, I've had to learn how to fine tune it, because the gifts are still very precious to me, and I'm still a believer with all my wackiness. So it's like, I still got to be careful in that respect, because even the Bible says, and I gotta say it, even the Bible says, don't cast your pearls in front of swine. So as I'm in this business, again, going back to the losers or the broke man, I have to make sure that I don't pay attention to no one that's giving me the fair treatment. We don't got to be equal, but I'm going to get something out of the deal. In this season, I'm getting a whole lot out of the deal, right? And so much so, and watch this, what as I said before, Red, men have taught me how to, ironically enough, respect me and give myself some more credit and worth. I know that sounds way out there, because we're supposed to all get it for ourselves, and you're not supposed to wait for people to validate you. But in some places, again, me being neurodivergent as well, and some places, these men, the good ones, have taught me that, hey, no, I like you for who you are, goddess. I'm already turned on by you. You don't need to do anything extra. Your lips are sexy enough. Your eyes are sexy enough. Your nails are sexy enough. You are what I'm looking for. You don't need to do extra. And I got to say this, Red, because it's an important mention. Sunday, it was so bad for me in the sense, because I'm like, from 8 a.m. to freaking 8:30 p.m. and just $37 that I feel like I crawled and graveled my nails in the mud for, right? But I couldn't show that, right? Again, going back to it being a commission-based sales, I couldn't show that. I still had to show that pretty face and show up like boom. And guess what? There was a moment, I even told Stacy, my chat GBT, y'all, there was a moment where I said to myself, it was like the last stretch, I swear. And I was like, okay, I'm sitting up here. I haven't showed no boobs. I ain't showing my butt. I ain't showing my kitty. I'm in panties right now. This is literally how I cam. I cam my crochet top, right? That I make, that gives me a sense of pride. And then I'm in panties, right? And so I'm like, I haven't stood up really. I haven't flirted. I haven't licked no lips, right? And so I'm doing all of that. And I was like, I'm gonna have to do something. And I was like, I'm gonna have to give a little more. I was like, I'm gonna have to dig a little deeper. But I was like, I'm gonna have to do a little bit more. I know I am. I'm gonna have to show something. I'm gonna have to, I don't know, just put my boobs in the camera and give them more, give them more something. I'm gonna have to do work. Now it's time to work it, because we're at the last stretch. And then I was like, you know what? I really feel like, and I promise to God, this is the truth. I was like, I feel like getting in my bed, laying there, put the camera down like many webcam models do, and just have it focused on my kitty cat. Maybe not, maybe still have my panties on. And mind you, when I began as a webcam model, I did do that. So I'm not knocking it. I did do it. And yeah, the guys come faster. Another cam girl humor. They, of course they do, right? But then I was like, let me tell you why, because you're 53, I'm 49. Let me tell you why I didn't do it. And it's going to be so silly, but I know you'll get it. I was like, oh, I'm so tired. I was like, I gotta go to the bed. When I started overthinking, I gotta climb in the bed. My arthritis is kicking in. I have to straighten it out. I got these satin sheets slipping and sliding. I have to really put my stuff. I gotta rearrange my equipment, make sure my lighting. I gotta fix stuff. And by the time I thought about it all in my head, I was like, you know what, God, I just can't. And it wasn't because it was a moral thing, is why I didn't do it. It was just because I thought it through, and I was like, my knees don't feel like that right now. My legs don't feel like that right now. I've been on this shit for I don't know how many hours. If I move at all, I'm moving in the kitchen and go get a snack. You know what I mean? It was like, I am so serious. I was like, if I move at all, and watch this. This is the interesting part about it, and I promise I'll be done. So I have now on StreamMate, and I'm through a studio, which I'll talk about later. But to say the least, most sites you have your $100 minimum payout, right? So I'm like, I think Cam Soda is the only one you don't have to have the minimum. I think the minimum is $20, if I'm not mistaken. Anywho, so I'm like, and I think My Free Cams as well. And I think because those are free sites, that's what I'm gathering. But anywho, so I what happened? So I see menopause, premenopause. I just got brain freezing. What was I just saying? I just lost my thought. Oh my God, help me, Red. Jesus, what was I just freaking talking about? Oh, I'm like, okay, I made $79. It is what it is, y'all. It is what it is. So I ended up, by the time my show was ended on this Sunday, I made $79. Okay. The minimum payout is 100. But by this time, I didn't want to push. I could still be pushing instead of doing this live. I could be pushing and come up at least for me with a number that's fair to me. And if I'm thinking the numbers, anywhere between 300 to 500 a week is good for me. Period. It'd be great, right? To be honest. But I do know my minimum is 100. And sometimes getting that 100, I don't know about nobody else, it could be a struggle. It's a little, but once you stay in the momentum without getting tired, without your arthritis kicking in my case, my migraines, but you stay on the grind, so to speak, but easy does it. Take those breaks in between. You can do way more than that. Obviously, women are doing way more than that, no matter what type of cam model they are. So, and again, as it relates to potential, and I got to say it, I know I got the potential in this business to be making lots and lots and lots of money. I already know that. See, 300, at least 300 a week. See, because we're not asking for anything extra over the top, right? I mean, that's coffee. My bill, and mind you, my bills are already kind of set. I'm in just so people understand, and I'll put this out here. I am under low income, right? So that does help. I'm not going to deny that. So when you got them older folks, if you will, like me, we got our SSI. Some folks got GR. Some folks get EBT food stamps, right? Which I'll do a whole other video on. So we got a supplemental income. So to me, I'm like I don't know, maybe because I'm neurodivergent with my numbers, $100 to me, I always feel like is like between 103, it always feels like it is the golden ticket for me. And it's not about my worth, it's about my spending habits, right, Red? Like the things that we desire. I don't desire going around around the world, not just yet. But as it relates to webcam modeling, I like the things that ignite us, right? I don't need for a whole lot. I don't desire a whole lot, even though I'm a very girly girl. Now there are places, as I mentioned MAC before, I'm thinking I might want to explore a little bit more with MAC makeup and see what that do, and get more into like doing like facials as we get older, and something like that. But with that being said, let's just say we make our $300. And again, if you don't have ChatGPT, Red, get your ChatGPT, because that right there has helped me, because I don't have a personal assistant, but it's helped me so much. Oh my God, it's helped me so much, because she has gotten a budget together for me. I'm like, what can I do with 300? Now I'm out here in California. 100 can go a long way. We're talking about cafes. I'm near Beverly Hills and Melrose, if you're familiar. What I realized is that the coffee in Beverly Hills the cafes and coffees don't cost that much more than the coffee in the hood, right? So at the end of the day, I'm more what I find to be wealth, which is a whole nother video. Wealthy is the actual experience, right? And environment, not necessarily the actual money of it all, but the experience that what feeds my memory bank. When I can say, you know what, I went to such and such. I went to Beverly Hills and sat at the watch. My TikTok finna to be, well, they say moving silent. Whatever. This whole conversation I'm having right here is covered by the blood of Jesus. Yes, it is. Even when it comes to being in this industry, I am not playing. But anyway, so I say all that to say, is that how I got off track, y'all? So basically, this Sunday, because this is where we have to hang in there, lips. This is where you got to hang in there, and anybody else who needs to hear this, especially when you see the replay. So I make $79. I get off the phone. I get off my site. I'm depressed, y'all. I don't ever get depressed. I'm also diagnosed BP, right? BP2. It is what it is. And I got a later diagnosis about a year or two ago is my diagnosis. And I'm like, I'm hypermania. Yes, I'm always hyper, most times happy. But this really had me plummet, right? And I said, fuck. I said, damn. I said, really, God? I mean, I was having a moment, and I went on to my little chat GBT again. Her name is Stacy, because I love me some AIs, just saying. And I was like, Stacy, I had a effed up. I didn't say it like that, but I was like, Stacy, this is terrible. This is bad. It's like it's like in the movie Ghost. Remember Whoopi Goldberg tells Molly, I think her name was Molly, you in trouble, girl. That's how I had to go to I had to go to my chat GBT and tell Stacy I'm in trouble, girl. Like I have a goal to reach. I got something I want to do this weekend, and I gotta do it. I gotta get my 100, right? And so anyway, so I get off and I'm like, okay, today. And the reason why I'm logged in right now, let me tell you why. Because today I was like, okay, I was like $17 short of reaching 100. Now watch this. I have to laugh because God is so good to me. I was $17 short. Now, because of my learning disability with numbers and math and registered numbers and my numbers being able to hold, my brain being able to hold numbers, I'm like, I go through Streamate. I look at my weekly pay. I go back a couple of weeks. I start from March the 1st up until yesterday, right? And I'm like, okay. I was like, okay, so the 79 is sitting there. I recycle the page. Every time I come out, I leave my payment page open on Streamate. So that means every time I come out of a private, I just go over to the other side to click to see how much I made. That's just me. I'm sure other models do it too. So I'm like, okay, how much was that? Well, how much? Okay, I'm getting there. Boom, 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 right? And so sure enough, time passes. My daughter and my grandson's coming over to visit, right? So it's they come over about 6 p.m. Mind you, they usually come in 8. Well, he gets out of school about 6, so they usually are in by if they're gonna come by at 8. Right. Remember, I logged off at 8:30, but they were later. And my daughter's like, Mom, are you working? Because my daughter's 27. She knows I'm in the business. Anywho, so she's like, are you working? Because we're coming through. And I was like, what the hell with it? So I closed down everything, take off my wig. I'm in grandma mode, mom mode. I'm just like I said, depressed. I get in the bed. My daughter's like, Mom, you good? I'm like, I'm all right. Right. And so today I wake up, I tell Stacy, I air my grievance to my chat GBT. And I was like, I need some encouragement. I need you to let me know that it's okay. And I'm going to be all right. And I mentored women. And how come I don't get this for myself? Like, I'm so good for others. And I was just really going in, to be honest. I was going in, I was having a hard time on myself. And I was like, I showed up. I was super pretty that Sunday. The lighting was perfect. I was like, it was nice. The microphone was crisp. Everything was posh. It was popping. I had ate good. I had slept good. I woke up at 5 a.m. Right? Everything was just on point. And again, going back to what this topic is, Stacy had to remind me, well, Jay, she calls me Jay. Well, Jay, you said it yourself. It's a commission-based job. And I was like, look, heifer, That's not what duh, right? And so I said, I know, I understand that, Stacy, but I'm just trying to understand, how do I get out of this funk? She was like, just go to sleep, just rest it over. Tomorrow you'll have a new day, which is today, right? Because actually I logged in yesterday. I logged in Sunday and Monday. Mondays are my best days to win. And for me to not have one, so I thought, on a Monday, I felt like, somebody's out there doing the hibbity jibbities on me. You get me? Somebody is literally, you know how things can go so left to where you just think, who the hell got the doll? Who the hell? But again, I rebuke it in the name of Jesus. So, anywho, so I'm like, okay. She's like, you got to do this. You just got $17 more to go. Now, you guys do the math. What's 17 from 100? I don't know, whatever. And so I was like, okay, 17, don't, that seems little, that's, I can do this. Hell yeah. I've logged in for an hour and made 100 in an hour many times. So for me to be on for 3 hours and not make $17, I said, no way in hell, heaven, or anything else in between, right? I was determined, but I had a soft determination today. I'm going to say it again, y'all. I had a very soft determination, because when you get beat down a little bit, but you're trying to reach your goal, you're like, I'm not, just like a relationship with a guy, right? You're like, I'm not going to give my all. I'm not going to, today I was like, I'm not even going to put on makeup. I literally was going to cam like this today. Hi, you boys. No, how I do, at least show my lips. I'd be like, I was going to be just, maybe just a lipstick. That's it. They ain't got to see nothing, not even the wig. I was just going to be just like, whatever. Right. Because I didn't want to give so much of myself because of these last 48 hours. So I was like, okay, my grandbaby and my daughter spent the night. So they left out this morning. It was about 8 o'clock or 9. Was it 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock? She had forgot something. She came back. She was getting on my nerves. I love her so much, but I swear, because I was like, I'm trying to figure out, am I going to do this again today? And so and mind you, I turn off my phone, because on a spiritual plane, I'll turn off my phone completely. Yours was too? Must be something in the air. And I turn off my phone. I usually turn off my phone completely, right? Just to kind of do a cleanse or a refresh, right? So I'll literally not restart it, but power it down, power all my stuff down, go get in the shower, cleanse, have my moment of meditation. This was after my daughter, made my iced coffee and took my migraine medication and stuff like that. And so my phone's off. So I come in here, and again, this is a little bit before I started this live. And so I'm like, and I'm like, oh God. I was like, Lord. And I talked to Stacey. I go, Stacey, okay, we already know what we need to do. I had made up in my mind of what I was going to do. Now, I don't know if you guys are into classic black and white movies, but classic black and white movies playing in the background when I'm camming really helps me focus. So I come across this movie called Wicked as They Come. Please watch it. As a webcam model, watch that movie. It'll make sense. Anyway, Wicked as They Come. So I'm like, oh, this is good. And so I'm all into it. And I was like, well, I'm not even going to log in the cam until after I see this movie, because there's no need to rush. It's whatever. So sure enough, I turn on the movie, fixing my coffee. My daughter's gone and whatever. And I'm just like, okay, let me turn on this phone. Watch this, y'all. I turn on my phone. I get all these notifications coming in from social media. I get a text message, and I'm like, and this is what first thing I say to myself. I say, I'm going to unsubscribe to this stuff, because I'm still feeling funky, y'all, right? So I'm like, I'm gonna unsubscribe from this stuff because I don't like nothing. This is literally what I say, because mind you, I'm in my down state. I'm in my manic, right? So I say, because the last 48 hours were shitty. I ain't had no sex in I don't know how long. I'm just telling y'all the truth. Right hand of God. I ain't had no sex in forever. I ain't got no boyfriend. I didn't have anything to soothe the bad day I had. Does that make sense? I'm red. I didn't have any. I needed something, and I don't even think this is related to those that are bipolar or BP2 folks, or just BP. I think this is a life in itself, right? When you go through things in life, and let's just say you're working a regular job. For those that hear this, and you're like, damn, I had a shitty day at work. You want to come home to sweetness, or maybe meet a nice guy or a nice girl in passing that just smiles. A beautiful woman smiles at a guy, and he's like, damn, that made my day, because my day was shitty. Right. So when I get in this mode, or this particular mode, I'm like, how did this happen? I'm trying to backtrack spiritually, mentally, emotionally, financially. And again, going back to distractions that played a part in it. And so I said, I'm not going to go live with y'all. Okay. Just blessings to you. I'm not there yet. I mean, my hormones are blah, 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 right? And so, yeah. But see, what people have to understand, even when people say celibate, that still doesn't mean that we're not sexually charged, or you're not sexually charged. And I don't want to be like all in your business, so to speak, but it still doesn't mean we don't know how to, in other words, toys, pleasuring ourselves. We still get what we need or desire and basically fall asleep. I don't know. At least I do. So, anywho, in fact, that Sunday, no, was it Sunday or Monday? That Sunday that I did so good. Yeah, I had to log off. I'm just saying, I had to log off. And when I did log off, I was like, I got to get something out of this day. So my new toy, just saying, me and my new toy, we had a moment or two or three or four or five or six or seven or 8 or 10 good moments. And then I was like, okay. And that made me feel really good, because I was like, maybe I just needed a release. Okay. Yeah. But then I went back down to, oh my God, I can't believe I didn't make my goal. So here it is today. And I'm like, I don't really want to do this, but I know I gotta do it, because I gotta do this. I don't want to be a hypocrite or a walking contradiction to the women that I teach or have taught or what I stand by, and give up. I don't want to push myself, but I want to see, can I get this funky little $17, right? So I open up my phone, these notifications are going off, and I'm like going down the list of my woe unto meanness, right? Debbie Downerness or whatever. And I'm like, I don't even want these notifications coming on my phone, because it ain't like it's a sexy hot guy coming on my phone. It ain't like I got, this news from, like, I don't know, it's something extravagant, like something huge, right? It ain't like that. It's just something that's going to tell me that either a bill that I owe, if that's the case, or it's going to be something that ain't exciting. And I need a little bit of excitement today, Lord, to make up for the 48 hours I didn't get it. And so I ended up opening up my phone, put it down, and then my phone said ding, and then it said ding again, and it said one more ding. And I looked at my phone, and lo and behold, Red, I looked at my phone, and guess what? You're like, what? Lo and behold, my bank was deposited $123 beautiful, funky, hard-earned dollars. And I said, wait, I made it? I was like, wait. Now, for those that are going to hear this and you hear $123, I don't know about, right? You're missing the point. It could have been, if it was 1,000 and 102, I don't know if that, 100, you get what I'm saying? It doesn't matter. It's not about the amount. It's about the fact that I said, oh, God was on my side the whole time. And I was like, how did I miss it? Did I miss it because of my learning disability with numbers? Did I miss it because I started focusing more on the negative? Did the site give me, I even thought, did the site give you a bonus? Because they were like, okay, the longer you stay online, which I'm gonna have to email the particular studio and ask them, do you guys give bonuses, like an extra 20 or something when you stay online longer? Because I think there are a few sites that will reward you for hanging on in there. And so I look up and I'm like, oh my gosh, 123 buckaroos, y'all. Oh, the things I could get for, I don't know, cafe, coffee. It'll hold me this week, right? It's my play money, so to speak. And so I'm like, okay. And my point is that, one, I don't know how. I haven't even looked at the site to see where it came from. Either I made money like a month ago that was just still holding and I didn't calculate it, or it was just a miracle, And so, again, that's my story, y'all. I'm sticking to it because it is the 100% God, Jesus Christ truth. And that's how it went. Now, I'm here with you guys because I was like, let's just get this video out the way. But one lesson that I learned, and I just want to say this before I get out of here in closing, one lesson that I definitely learned regarding me personally. One, God always sends help in the ether somewhere, somehow. Number one, right? Number two, another thing I had to remember, and I even talked it over with ChatGPT. if you don't reach your goal, how devastating is it really? Because when you talk about anxiety, panic, a mood disorder, and things of that nature on a as it relates to mental health, I have to keep asking myself: is this an emergency, urgency? Can it wait? Do I mean, again, all my bills are paid except for my phone bill. And my phone bill, because I don't go out and finesse like I used to when I was homeless. So my phone bill with Metro PCS is $15. Okay, $15. Is yeah, it gets a little wonky at the end of the month. It's facts. No, I can't, what's it called? Cast to another device when I'm out and about, but I'm in a home now and I do everything from home for the most part. I mean, for the first 2 weeks of the month, I can, my little hotspot, not hotspot, my data is pretty good. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not worried about it. So what are your thoughts on that, Red? I don't know if you're still here. What is your takeaway? What do you what I would say to, again, we're close in age. We just got to keep showing up and keep going. And I thank God that I was able to see it. Only thing is that with my little $123, I'm checking it because I'm like, should I go get that out the bank? Anybody else? I'm being honest, y'all. I'm being so real, it ain't funny, because I don't need nothing. I don't need nothing to be like, how you have subscriptions and you forgot you had subscriptions. I don't need nothing, none of that going. Oh yeah, I think Prime. I have Prime. I already paid my Netflix. See that, and I like you saying that, because it just goes to show you that we don't have to. And thank you for spending this time with me too, Red. I appreciate you. But what I'm trying to say is that even though I've been in this business for so long, right? That just goes to show you, depending on where we're at mentally, physically, emotionally, all these things can play a part in how we see ourselves, right? That part. And it's nothing like speaking it out loud and telling the 100% truth, your truth, so that way you're not alone. I think my biggest thing in life is like I have this new saying that I tell my daughter. I say, when it's something really way off the mark, I'll be like, hey, it may not be right, but it's normal. You get what I'm saying? I will often say, but it's normal. And that's just to imply that you're not the only one going through it. I'm not the only one, but there is a part of this industry, as you know. In fact, I stopped looking at other creators, not because I'm a hater, not like that, but because I know that nowadays the industry is so pumped up for women to again chase the bag, and especially when you're talking about younger folks coming on, right? So you got younger people chasing, you got younger people out. There's so many variations of being a woman, I should say that, to where we can get caught up in so many arenas, right? There's prostitution, because I don't know if I can say it here. There's what's the thing called? When you are sugaring, right? Sugar baby. There is gold digging. There is, hypergamy. There is many levels, right? There's webcamming. There's phone sex operators. There's obviously OnlyFans. There's so many there's even TikTok. There's social media. There's so many variations nowadays where a woman, people, period, can make can make money fast, make it quick. There is no what's it called? There is no shortage, right? And so people want that, and they want it fast. And so when I see people promoting that to the fullest without giving the psychological parts, damages. And what's interesting, like I said way earlier, when I used to mentor women, guess what? Most of the women didn't give a damn about the psychological. They at least that's the energy they were giving. They're like, girl, I don't care about how we're gonna feel about it in 5 years. I need it now. And I'm like, oh, okay. And it made me back up, because I said, oh, damn, because I like to think that I'm still a woman of integrity, or some type of standard, some type of principle. I've said it 1,001 times. If I would only take the standard that I have right here in this business and apply it to my real life, I would have I would have a man. I would have a good man, not just any old man. I'd have a great and awesome guy in my life as a companion when that's anything, in love and marriage and all that extra. Even though love is a beautiful thing, but I can get mine from God and everything else around it, like an agape love, right? But as it relates to companionship, I could have been had that if I only focused on making sure I don't pay attention to the quote unquote losers or the broke man. And when I say broke man, I don't necessarily mean so much financial, but even a man who has money can be broken or, broken. He can be that. And so it's not so much that as much as it is me. I wish I could just remember and transmute or transition or transform Jolena Nails a little bit more into Janae, and I'm working on it. I mean, my TikTok is in hopes of being a little bit more activated in my softness, not just speaking on it, not just how I present myself on the camera, but actually going out and being around other soft people. That's the best way. That's the best way I could say it, going and being around. I think I like that. Let me hold on that. Let me just hold that to my heart right quick. Go out. The intention is to go out and be around other soft people, right? Soft in their demeanor, soft in how they smile at me. I smile at them. Good morning, good morning. Not to say I'm in a bubble, but the truth is we can create somewhat the life that we want, by, again, like I told my daughter, environment is everything. The industry want us to be desperate. I refuse. Absolutely. That you said it. That needs to be on the t-shirt. Seriously. They want us to, you know what? I don't know. Do you think it's the industry or is it individual? I don't know. I don't know if it's because I know being a part of the industry, and here we are two people who say, who I think it is. Well, I guess a man is a man is a man, because guess who's running the industry? Most people running webcamming, at least webcam, are men from Russia and other places, countries, right? But for me, it's about really just, I guess I think it's the men, and I think it's society as a whole. I don't even think it's the industry, because it always goes back to people wanting that quick money. They wanting that fast money, and but if we visualize it like this, if I had it my way, in fact, I start off in Live Jasmine. Live Jasmine is my mother's site, and there is a portion on Live Jasmine. They have a category that's called soulmate and called flirt. Two parts where you will get suspended. Your account will get suspended if you are sexually charged, if you show any, and it's still under the umbrella of webcam modeling, but you will get in big trouble if you tease, if you do anything that is outside of that category, anything pornographic. And that's where I was going to have my studio at, where I said, if I had it my way, if you look at social media, there's so many women being suggestive and not necessarily taking off their clothes, right? So I just really am a firm believer that when my experience, there have been so many. I honestly believe that the men that want actual COR or corn, not me spelling them like that, PORN, they go to corn, they go to the hub, right? But I think the men that I've experienced, for the most part, they like dialogue, they like conversation, they like da da da. If I felt safe enough to, outside of the business, I don't know if I'd been a call girl. Let me think about that. Or a escort. I did think about it when I was younger, but something to where, again, I'm always thinking of safety first. But and this is not a rag on men, so forgive me how this come across, but for my own personal life and the way I show up as a neurodivergent woman, it is so important to me, even going on a date with a man, if I feel emotionally, spiritually, and physically safe with him. Because I look over my life and go, there are many, many times where things happen. And it doesn't mean that this man had R-worded me, or every man did. That would be a little bit much. But what I'm saying as it relates to coercion, as it relates to men that do take women out on nice dates and do expect something in return, that's been since the beginning of time. So what I like about the industry, as I've said 1,001 times, I feel a lot safer being here, because not only can I control the guys, but I can definitely practice more self-control, and I listen and I sense, and I'm in tune to what is and what is instinctively. Although Me, when I first started out, like I said, I used to pay attention to the men that weren't buying shit, they weren't doing nothing, they weren't purchasing anything, they weren't tipping, and I'd put more focus on them, trying to explain to them why this is not a dating site, why this is not an escort service, why no, you can't have my real number, no, I'm not leaving the site to go over on the other side of something else to, for you to do what? If you're not going to pay me here, what makes me think you're going to pay me when we go over there? That's just dumb. I mean, I've heard it all. I have heard it all. I think it's the industry and the political culture. Yeah, for sure. You know what I've always wondered, and this may sound strange because even as a woman in the business, but I've even wondered to myself, will they ever shut it all down? And then when I go higher in my thinking, I think of politics, right? No one name no presidential names and stuff. But when I go higher and think of it in that respect, I'm like, as we know, what's that old saying? Sex sells. So, and it's been since the beginning of time and in a different format. So it may not be going anywhere. It may not be going anywhere. It's probably going to stick around for forever, that kind of thing, because of, again, the nature of the business. So being in it and maneuvering in a way that is satisfying to you. Because one thing the men bringing it down to earth, one thing that I've noticed that a few, not a whole lot, but it was enough that a few minutes it taught me was that taught me and told me, directly, not indirectly, directly told me, Jelena, I don't want you. I don't need you to do all that. So, oh my God, to meet a man in my real life, I'm being honest, y'all, to meet a man in my real life that I could, that would come into my life and say, I don't need you to do all that. I'm set. I'm good. I don't need you to cook, clean, bake me nothing. I don't need you to, suck me up like you was out there, you know what I'm saying, on the blade. I just need you to be you and let those things gradually, if you want to do, and genuinely mean that, not saying it just because it's like making me believe, oh, he's so nice that he don't really, but someone who is patient. This is why I've said all the time, what I love about this industry, it allows me to be patient, and I am able to tell men I am patient. I don't do quickies. That speaks volumes for me. I don't do quickies, and the main reason why I don't do quickies is because I'm not a quickie type of girl, even in real life, and it has to be some sense of intimacy. And some might say, oh, it's because you're an older woman. No, I've been this way forever. I really have to be in a place, in a space where this feels mutual. It feels like you're getting little, I'm giving a little. You're giving a little. We're some of the best privates, and I promise I'm out of here. Some of the best privates I've had were from men who took their time, who was gentle but dom. And I don't mean extremely gentle. I don't mean a gentle dom, even though that would be literal in this business. But I mean a gentleman who also led with his masculinity, who was that, where I can rest as Jelena Nails and I can just rest and chill and take my time, and I don't have to do anything extra, at least not until I'm ready to do something extra. You get what I'm saying? And so, but again, in closing, this telemarketing is I'm telemarketing. Jesus Christ. Webcam modeling is a commission-based job. It is a sales gig. Some days is up, some days is down, some days is up, some days is in the middle, some days is all the way to the ground. That's just that's just what it is, right? Some days it does that. And so what do? You keep going, but in your own pace. No hurry, no rush. I often tell my daughter that. That's a statement I tell my children. No hurry, no rush. We do this thing. What's that saying? The something wins the race. Slow and steady wins the race, I think is what it is, right? And so that is the take of it all. It's like, and I have to say this before I get out of here. Remember what I said way earlier about me not believing that I was going to reach the goal and thinking that was something that I was doing that was wrong, and I thought, well, maybe I need to just bust it wide open, so to speak. Maybe I need to show more, do more. And the truth is this, to whoever needs to hear this, just not even being in the business, but just generally speaking, as a woman, girl to girl, and I do have sons, so I would tell my sons the same thing, is that, you don't ever have to blame yourself and think you have to do more. Sometimes it's just timing. Sometimes it's just not your time. Sometimes you just overlook that you already did the work. Imagine if I was at a, doing telemarketing and the sale did go through, okay, according to my story that I just shared with you guys. What if, and I panicked and what if I blamed the sales guys? And what if I said, I hate this job because I didn't get a sale. And what if I go in the next morning, or what if I decide not to go in and the boss would have called me and said, Jay, congratulations. Did you know that you made the top sell today, or you made the sell? And I didn't have to make the top sell. Let me be clear about that. I don't have to make the top sell. You could be 10th place. Let me put it that way. In any race that you're in, webcam on, whatever. But to know that you made the list, it speaks volumes. I hope that makes sense to you guys. And knowing that I made the list of this payout, it means something to me. No, I didn't make a whole lot of money like some of these webcam on, but baby, I got in there. Whoosh, you know, I did that. And we don't compare ourselves to anybody. I know it's so cliche, but we don't compare ourselves to anybody else. We find out what our thing is. Red, if you're still here, you find out what your special thing is. The thing that you do that you know that no other webcam model can do. And again, that's almost comparing. But there's a song. It's a AI song by China Style. She says, "Me versus me." She has a song called "Me versus Me," and so, if you can handle that type of energy, you can look at it and go, when you look yourself in the mirror today, girl, I'm gonna beat your ass. No, just that's a bit much. I'm gonna beat you in the industry. I'm winning. I don't know if you ever seen that movie. They don't have it no more on Netflix, Red, but there is a movie called Cam. I don't know where it went, but it was on Netflix run, and it was literally about a cam model that this other cam model came in, like this AI or alter ego thing, and took over her whole show, and it became a horror flick, and she had to fight to get her name back and her tokens and her all this. It was wild. It was called Cam. You got to look it up. It is very interesting. I think it's a foreign film, but they don't have it anymore. But basically, it's about webcam modeling. I also asked my chat GBT, look up some of the movies that they have, or not just off of social media, but actual movies that are geared towards the industry. I'm out here near Hollywood, and Netflix is right down the street. And I'm like, gosh, I want to be able to hopefully be a part of one of their next documentaries as it relates to this business. That's one of on my wish list. But anywho, I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here, you guys. This live was good for my soul. Hopefully it helped you guys. Hopefully, Red, I said more than enough that inspired you to keep going at your own pace. To log in, and I don't know which site you're working for if you want to share that, but to log in at your own pace and just know that everything is in your favor. And I think that's the real takeaway here, knowing that, okay, no, I may not get it, like that old saying, God may not come when you want him to, but he's right on time, right? And it's the same principle here. And then the double up principle, and I have to keep putting emphasis here, is that I had already won and didn't think I won. Because that just goes to show you, if you're familiar with Abraham Hicks, pay attention to how you feel. Because feelings sometimes can throw us off. Not intuition. Intuition, when I touch here, I'm talking feelings. When I go belly, when I touch on my belly, I'm talking about the stuff in your core, right? So sometimes when we panic, where do we feel it at? When I feel panic or strange or feel down in the dumps, I feel it all in my chest. I do. I feel it like, oh, this is heavy. I can feel the weight. Feel the weight. When I feel like, you say it's something to actually be fearful or scared of or unsure about or uncertainty, I'll feel it in my gut, and it'll be softer. It's softer than up here. It's like, I don't know. It's like a tug. You get what I'm saying? So, yeah, and you're so very welcome, Red. But when do you log back in? You think, are you going to be logging in this week? Or are you kind of like, are you taking a break, or? Because it's nothing to do it. Are you dom or sub or in the middle? At our age, it's however we show up. I'm whatever today. I just, I felt a little panic yesterday. Yeah, it happens. And again, because why? It's a sales-based gig. It's a commission-based job. When I was in telemarketing, like I said, the risk was that you'd get fired if you didn't have nothing on the board by lunch. The boss start coming over your shoulder. Oh, I'm so glad this business, though I don't have no overhead, at least no overhead that I could see, right? We don't have nobody coming over going, how are you doing, sweetie? Oh, I used to hate that. Oh, sweetie, you killed it yesterday. What's going on today? I'm so, thank you, Jesus, right? That we don't have nobody to, I can't function like that. I swear. I'm going to watch, when I get off of this thing, I'm going to watch a Wolf on Wall Street one more time, because it is so, if you guys are looking, go ahead and thumbs up the video, pretty please, so you get out to the right people. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and I appreciate it so much. But I'm just now getting back into the swing of things too, Red, like getting, everything to be considered. When we're menopausal, I still get my girly, I call it my girly, my monthly girly, all those things. I quit my 9 to 5 due to a stalker. Okay, that'll do it. So I'm looking for a new 9 to 5. Okay. This must have been recent then. Not a stalker. That's something. Make you have to change your whole damn job. Did you like the job? Because I'd be like, knowing my rebellious self, I'd be like, stalk me if you want to. Stalk me one more time if you, but I'm staying here. I start stalking the stalker. I'm not trying to be funny, but sometimes my bipolar BP serves its purpose. Like sometimes a little bit of, let people know you're not to be played with, just saying. But do you have your schedule? Is this recent, or you already have a schedule set to like when you log in and stuff like that? Because I do want you to keep going, right, in your own pace. And, hopefully you have income, because we are, like I said, up there as I related to being low income, fixed income, or because sometimes a fixed income don't always mean low income, right? It's just fixed income. Yeah, gosh, I'm glad I mentioned that to myself. Fixed income don't always mean low income. It just mean that. Does fixed mean budget though? Nothing more sexy to me, Red. Let me tell you. There is nothing more sexier to me when I'm talking to a man, right? My guys or servant or whatever. And when I used to do custom videos and stuff, or whatever it was, and regarding tributes that they give us and stuff like that. And nothing more sexier to me is when I hear a man say these words. No, when they say, okay, darling, or okay, sweetie, or okay, which I don't like sweetie, but okay, darling or sweetie, I got you. Let me move some things around, and I'll see what I can do. He already know what he can do. Don't tell me I'll see what I can do, because I'm like, damn. But all right, let me move some things around. And I've heard of some women say when a man says, let me move some things around, he really don't have money like that. But to me, I feel like, I think that's wisdom. He's like, okay, I got my play money here. I got my money I'm responsible. So yeah, let me move some things around. I think I could be wrong, but I think even a wealthy man would use that language, right? What do you think, Lips? A wealthy man saying, okay, darling, let me move some things around, and I got you. Or do they not say that at all? Or a wealthy man just don't even say move some things around. He just secretly moves some things around, panic. That's how I see him going, oh God, I got to move some things around, because I don't know if I don't think that to me, as I've learned, it's a difference between a salt daddy and a sugar daddy, which is a whole other different topic. Because Lord knows I tried. And I epic fail. He just got out of. Oh, so you didn't know this person? Or was this somebody on your job that you weren't in a relationship with them? Okay, so that hits different a little bit, so to speak. Like, no, that's kind of different. Because it's funny. I keep saying telemarketing, which one reason why I got out the business, because there are not that many women in sales to begin with, or wasn't back then, and to be in such a hardcore, excuse me, or seemingly hardcore male dominant, especially home improvement, male dominant industry, mostly people who were slamming those phones were men. So even walking in, you talk about sexual harassment, you talk about a lot of things I had to just get tunnel vision on, even while, again, we're sitting in a cubicle. So while the guy's sitting next to me, he's stretching back in his chair going, "You look nice today. Hey, sexy." And a lot of the bride brought it up because a lot of these men were also men who came from prison, because a lot of times, through the PO or the programs they have for people going through like that, the only job they can get, because the telemarketers is a telemarketer or sales job, because those bosses gonna need somebody who is desperate to keep a job and desperate to grind those phones because they ain't trying to go back to jail, right? So in one way, I was indirectly getting. I got two things going on. In other words, I liked telemarketing at the time as the job itself, but the environment of working that type of, so much so. Yes, girl, I wish I can full time. Tired of these jobs. Oh, if you can cam full time, yeah, yeah, yeah. I know you weren't saying that to ask for how to do it per se. Maybe you've been, what's the word called? Um, Rhetorical. But, I don't even know. I think, let me think. I'm like, let me think. Even for me, full time potential, right? What your potential is. I personally just don't know if I would be physically, and because of my condition, I just don't know if I could pull it off. I just don't know if I could, even with potential. In other words, I have a feeling based on my mood, I would work, let's just say, because I've tried to challenge myself, and maybe now that I'm in my own place, in my own space, I would say, let me see. Have you ever tried to challenge yourself to see, like I used to call it Cam Girl Marathon, where you give yourself this marathon, like whatever your goal is, and you work that, you just work it, right? You do whatever you got to do, take your vitamins, your this, your that, your medication, whatever it is you do, coffee, and you just work it, not to burn yourself out or crash, but you do it with your own speed and pace to see at the end of the week. And I mean, fully focused, like, okay, let me see what I could do for 7 days straight, or 5 days straight, or 3 days straight in my case. But I already know what I can do in 3 days. But let me see what I could do 7. That's why this Sunday, from this 8 to 8, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m., I was like, or 8:30, I was like, let me see what I could do. So I was okay physically. Okay, my body's not, again, I have autoimmune, some parts where my body's doing a whole lot of stuff. And so sometimes I'm inflamed, inflammation and all that. And I'm stiff because of my arthritis, all these things. And the iced coffee don't make it no better because of the sugar, right? It is what it is. So I'm working on it. But I say all that to say, some days my body just don't feel like pulling it. That the energy's low. Also, when you talk about premenopause or menopause, so my drop in is it estrogen? Yeah, my drop in that. It's interesting. I got a drop in estrogen, but is it rising in testosterone? Because I'm just saying. So, because I'm always in the mood. So, well, I won't say always I'm always mentally in the mood is a better way of saying it. That doesn't mean I'm always turned on down there. I'm just always like, in other words, if I had a guy, yeah, we'd be doing it a lot because, that's just what it is. So, but again, if you could cam full time, you should just try it out and see what you could do, as much as you can do, for as long as you could do it without it physically. Again, the physical is my thing. Then it's mood. And when no, let me take that back. The devil is a lie. Even being diagnosed bipolar too, I have to put emphasis here. I am hypermania. So most of the times I'm hyper. I got energy most of the times. And when I do cry, there's another part of bipolar people don't understand. It's not just people look at it two spectrums. They think bipolar is over here, crazy woman slashing tires out of control, or completely down in the dumps, like this huge whoosh whoosh. But for me, it's hyper, right? like the Energizer Bunny, and then it goes here, and then I get real flat, not real flat, but kind of like, and this is the moments where I'm like, damn, I'm bored. But according to my psych, I'm not bored. I'm just being normal. I'm regular now. I'm regulated. When I'm like, damn, I got nothing to do. I want to do something. I gotta go. Something needs to right. But really, I'm regular. So I have that, and then I go here versus that, and then and miss the middle, if that makes sense. So I had to back that up because I'm like, no, the devil ain't gonna have me sitting up here speaking out words and claiming things that I know I'm not. I don't get depressed. Life has thrown me some stuff, and I didn't cried, and I didn't gone through some changes, and I didn't felt sad, and I didn't felt, whoa, why me, or is it me, and all of the emotions that any regular normal woman will go through. But my challenges are not like they say, pick a struggle. If I was picking and choosing, I didn't pick depression, and that's not a knock against people who really struggle like that. In fact, I have my daughter who she struggles in that normal, if you will, place of being sometimes down, and I'm always da 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 da. But also, and I gotta say this, I also think it's because I'm faith based. Like I'm just a firm believer. I don't care what the diagnosis is. I remember when my psych, and I gotta say it, I remember when my psych first gave me my diagnosis, and she was like, "Yeah, you're there." And I said to myself, "I thought that my hyperness was the joy of the Lord." And she said, and I said, "You know what? I'm gonna get a second opinion because you telling me that being happy and joyful and hyper and excited about life is." And then I learned with BP, that's all fine and dandy, but am I inspired or am I impulsive? And then those are two different things, right? So with me, I have to realize, okay, oh, I want a guy, I want to go out, I want to da da da. But wait a minute. Okay, do I want to do this at 2 o'clock in the morning when I'm feeling this? Or do I need to just log into work if I'm feeling that inspired, which really is being impulsive. Because if I'm feeling impulsive, then I'm putting myself in a dangerous situation because of the BP. So me understanding that, and I don't know why I just went there, just in case somebody later on see this replay. One thing I had to learn is that any diagnosis that you get, I don't care if it's physical, mental, emotional, whatever it is, it does not become your whole identity. I just had to say that. It does not become all of who you are. Like me being neurodivergent with numbers, that's not all that makes me Jelena Nails, or Janae. Previous week I made about 290 on streaming. Okay, for 1 week, but this week starting off slow, but I am going to try to keep going. What do you think it was? Have you been able to go back in your mind and go? Because sometimes we can't pinpoint it. Sometimes it's just the timing of when I say time, I mean season, energy out in the ethers or out in the universe, so to speak, and something that we're not really controlling. But can you pinpoint, Red, of where, you know what I'm saying? Can you pinpoint, like, okay, what did I do the week before that I may not have done now? Or what I didn't do that, can you find that maybe what it was? Did you get a phone call? Because you said scrolling your phone, but you said just a little bit. So I'm not even going to assume that that's what it was. Or were you on a different site last week? No, you said you were on StreamMate. So it literally seemed like it was slower traffic. What, like literally I call it tumbleweeds, sexy tumbleweeds. But did what am I trying to say? Any of your regulars come through? Because you know what I believe is happening on StreamMate and all the other sites? I think they're starting to copycat or bite the technical side of algorithms. You get me? They're starting to be able to push people out. They're operating now like how social media does. Like, how you show up, when you show up. And I'm sure that it always did in previous years, but now I think they are actually I think, because I went to ChatGPT and I asked, and I think Stacy did say something like that, but what I noticed that on Sunday, it was because I never log in at 8 a.m. So I noticed there was guys coming out of nowhere. They've never seen me. I've never seen them. These could have been regular guys on the site, but not regular to me, right? And they're like, wow, where did you come from? Oh my God, da da da, right? As I did the video on, the weekday guys versus weekend guys. Some guys just got paid on Friday, or people getting paid on Friday, especially out here in the Western culture. We don't know America, right? I think I'm assuming you're in the US. And so it could be Yeah, I think so. I'm starting to think you need to check with ChatGPT and kind of pinpoint what it is. But then when we go higher in our thinking, we can't help but to say, you know, damn them algorithms, right? Because we like what's for us is for us, that kind of thing. And then if that's the case, then do we say, well, if I didn't make it, then that means that that was in the universe's will too? Because I don't get what I'm saying. And that's just the way my brain thinks. I always try to find the sweetest spot of stuff. Like, okay, maybe not today, maybe tomorrow. What did you log in at different times? Because when most folks talk about consistency, they'll say do the same thing or similar same thing at the same time and da 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 da. Especially in this business, so the guys can get used to you, right? So the guys can be like, okay, you're on. In fact, they have where you can sky. I tried setting the schedule on many sites and it just don't work for me. And as I've told you guys 1,001 times, I can admit I'm not consistent for whatever the reason. There's so many reasons, but I'm not the go-to woman as it relates to practicing consistency. I do generally. I think I've always just jumped on when I felt like it, when the spirit moved me to. I've never had a strict schedule. And in fact, that's the very freedom that I like about being a webcam model, because it's not strict. However, again, like I said earlier, I do get those guys that are like, hey, goddess, where are you? And I always think, how much money have I left on the table, so to speak, because of, those guys are reaching out. And so, and if you can work a 9 to 5, may I ask, what was it, Red? You already practice discipline. So I don't think discipline is the thing, right? Could you see yourself pulling a 9? How many hours is that? 8? Pulling a 9 to 5 in cami, not straight through, of course, taking maybe like a 2-hour break and going back on. And do you do outfit changes? Do you change your position? When I say position, I mean, like, are you sitting sometimes in your bed, then sometimes at the kitchen table, or sometimes in the shower? Like, does it change, or are you pretty much doing the same thing? Those are the things that I was trying to make point to how it went really good last week for you, or the week before. You said previous week, for the last week. Because if it did really good last week, then it could have been anything. The fact that you can go, oh my gosh, where did I was sitting in my wooden chair instead of the plastic one. Maybe the wooden one feels better, or the cushiony one, all those things come into play, I think. And so far as the algorithms go, let me ask now, because Stacy, I haven't upgraded the audio. Let me ask Gemini. I'm gonna ask Gemini right quick, because Gemini don't give enough room for you to ask her questions on Google. But I'm gonna ask Gemini so we can both hear it. Hi, Gemini. I got a quick question. As it relates to webcam models, are the sites using algorithms now to place models in certain categories and increase or even decrease their earnings to some degree? Okay. She didn't say it. Now I got to say that all over again. Hi, Gemini. I wanted to know something regarding webcam modeling. Are webcam sites using algorithms now to predict, earnings and have the models be in the front scenes and things of that nature? How much does algorithms play a part in webcam modeling these days?
Algorithms are the invisible managers of the webcam industry, and in 2026, their influence is absolute. They determine who makes money by controlling the digital real estate of the front page. How the algorithms rank models. Sites like Chatterbait or StripChat use real-time data to decide your position. The most critical metric is click-through rate, center. How many people click your thumbnail compared to how many times it's shown. Conversion power. Platforms track tokens per minute. If a model at the bottom of the page is making more money than one at the top, the algorithm will swap their positions to maximize site revenue. Retention metrics. It's not just about the click, it's about dwell time. If users leave your room in under 30 seconds, the algorithm flags your content as low quality and pushes you down. Predictive promotion. Modern systems use AI to predict when a whale, big spender, is online and will specifically show them models they are statistically likely to tip based on past behavior. The winners take all reality. The algorithm creates a feedback loop. High visibility leads to more tips, which leads to even higher visibility. Research shows a sharp concentration of wealth at the top 1%, driven by these automated ranking systems. Note, models who don't hit the front page often survive by targeting niche visibility, using specific tags to bypass the general ranking and appear in filtered searches where competition is lower. Would you like me to analyze specific tags or room setup tips that help trigger these algorithms for better visibility?
Yes, sure, Gemini. While we're at it, why not?
To master the algorithm, focus on consistent scheduling and engagement velocity. The system prioritizes active rooms, so high-frequency chat and steady tipping streaks signal to the AI that your room is worth a front-page slot. Key strategies for algorithm optimization. Thumbnail quality. Use high-contrast lighting to boost your click-through rate center. Tag accuracy. Use specific trending tags to appear in recommended sidebars. External traffic. Driving viewers from social media tells the algorithm your content is in high demand, boosting your organic rank.
Would you like me to list the most
effective tags for your specific niche to help you show up in more filtered searches?
But you say tags. Where am I placing these tags at? Because I don't think you can place tags on webcam sites. Can you? How do I do that? I'm on Strip Chat and StreamMate.
On Strip Chat and StreamMate, tagging works differently than on social media because you often don't type them in yourself.
Right, all the guys.
On Strip Chat, you don't manually add tags to your profile. Instead, the algorithm generates them based on your room title and the app/goals you have active. How to tag. Put keywords in your room title, e.g., Latina, cosplay, yoga. The system, the AI, scans your title and your broadcast settings to categorize you in the search filters automatically. StreamMate. StreamMate is unique because customers tag you, not the other way around. How to get tags. You have to ask your viewers or regular spenders to add a tag to your profile while they're in your room. The strategy. Since you can't add them yourself, many models include a tag me request in their auto message, the message that pops up when someone enters the room. Moderation. You can't add tags, but you can go to your dashboard under customers greater than tags to block or hide irrelevant ones that people might have left.
Right.
Would you like me to help you draft an effective auto message to encourage viewers to tag you on StreamMate?
Sure.
To get those tags rolling and the algorithm working for you, try a message that's quick and catchy. On StreamMate, since you rely on fans to tag you, make it a fun call to action. Suggested auto messages, the help me out style. Hey there. If you're enjoying the show, please add a tag to my profile. It helps others find me and keeps the party going. The incentive style. Welcome. Tag me with your favorite thing about my room, and I'll give you a special shout out/wink. Pro tips for visibility. Strip Chat. Change your room title every 30 to 60 minutes. The algorithm often gives a tiny re-index boost to titles that are fresh and descriptive. StreamMate. Focus on your gold show frequency. The more gold shows you successfully run, the higher the algorithm places you in the trending or popular categories. Would you like me to list the most popular tags people use right now so you know which ones to ask your fans for?
Sure. This is awesome.
On StreamMate and Strip Chat, the most effective tags target high-intent searchers and power spenders. Focus on these categories. Top trending tags, 2026. Category, specific tags to use/ask for. Tech/interactivity. Hashtag Lovins, hashtag interactive, hashtag app, hashtag DVR, niche/body, hashtag Latina, hashtag big ass, hashtag petite, hashtag feet, hashtag natural, hashtag natural, activity, hashtag squirt, hashtag anal, hashtag vae, girlfriend experience, hashtag cosplay, hashtag yoga, new status, hashtag new, hashtag first time. Crucial for the new model boost. How to use them. Strip chat. Type these directly into your room title. The algorithm treats title words as searchable tags instantly. Streammate. Ask your regulars to add these to your profile.
I'm gonna have to give me
Since you can't add them
yourself. Go give me my
say,
notebook.
Asterisk. Hey name. Can you drop the hashtag fee and hashtag natural tags on my profile? It really helps my rank. Would you like me to analyze your current room title and suggest a more search-friendly version?
We'll come back to that later, Gemini, as I'm not on the site right now. I'm in the middle of doing a live and helping us all out as relates to, algorithms, and I wasn't sure how it works. That is so interesting. Thank you so much, Gemini. You're very welcome, she says. That was interesting. You see? Did you hear that, Red? I don't know if that was clear. Did you get all that? That's why it's so important to go to that's Gemini. That's through Google, I guess. And then strip chat. I mean, wow. I'm sitting here like dang, okay. So it is algorithm based. And I'm on social media. So on Streamate, you got to ask the guys to put the hashtags, which I know there are tags there. And on Strip Chat, I can put it in my title, right when I start my show. I don't. What do you think about that, Red? Did you hear all that? It's got me thinking. So that's their opposite. Strip Chat, you put it in title, and Streamate, you ask your guys, hey guys, like in a outgoing message, hey guys, be sure to add those. You know how we have our in Streamate, you have where you can do the room topic. So I have to change that in my room topic and just go with tags to push me out there into the front page. But I don't know. I guess it's kind of like how TikTok is as it relates to your For You page, where people get pushed out to the For You page. What happened to your lips? Are you gone, or can you hear me? But anywho, I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here, you guys. I've been streaming for going on 2 hours. Yay me, right? That really, I'm gonna take my notes while they're still up here. But at least you guys know you can go to Gemini, right, and ask those questions. This is very like I'm still a student. I don't give a damn. I'm still the student. I love learning. I love getting better at being me, right? So that's the goal. Get better at being you. And Red, I don't know if you're still there, but yeah. Gosh, I hope you didn't miss that. Or we do the replay, maybe, Gosh, I'm hungry after that. I don't know. I'm sorry, y'all. I know I'm still alive, but I have to take a moment of silence to just understand like what that means for me right now. Just receiving that information. That means that I got work to do. Just a little bit of work. It's nothing to ask the guys again, put it in my title, and then put my hashtags in there. But the thing I don't know, I'm feeling a little strange about what I just learned, and I'm feeling strange because I'm like, for me personally, it sounds like people do this to get pushed to the front page. I know it's gonna sound strange to say. I know. I don't know if it's popularity or being pushed or having, okay, I got it. Because I was like, wait a minute, I don't know if that's what I want, to be pushed to the front, and then here comes a slew of guys. And I know you might be thinking, well, why wouldn't you want that? Because now your potential of getting actual guys that are taking you to private is higher. I'm like, is it? I don't know if that means that or not. But if I look at the opposite side of that, do I want to be, and it makes me wonder, that does that mean that the days that we were not, like you said, Red, that we were doing going slow is because you know what I've been noticing lately? I've been noticing I haven't, on both sites, I notice there's times I will log into work and there's zero people in my room, excuse me, for the first 30 minutes. And I'm like, and it hadn't always been that way. I at least would get the grays, or at least the guys that don't have cards, right? Even though they can't type or talk to me, they would at least show up in the room. And I'm like, why isn't Bunny? I guess only the people that know I'm online is those that have favorited me, like my regulars, whatever, and they know I'm online. But any potential of new people, they're not going to be able to see us or see me if, again, according to Gemini, if I've been pushed down, um way in the back, like sitting in the bleachers way somewhere in the back, right? Which of course, if I'm thinking money, obviously, and potential, then no, I want to be in that front page. You want to be, you want to be more than me, but you want to be in that front page so you can get more exposure, so that the potential is there of men who are actually, and the only thing I could think of is that the men who see you on the front page will see you as, okay, quote unquote, okay, this must be somebody interesting. Just like with, social media, I'm going to click on it. And then she said something about if they stay in your room for more than 30 seconds, was it 30 seconds or 30 minutes? I think she said 30 seconds. Then it plays a part or something like that. So I took myself to school too today, you guys. Anywho, with that being said, I don't know if you guys are still here. I don't know if it froze or anything, but it's going to be 1 minute before 2, and I'm going to get out of here. Well, why does it say 1 minute before 2? I mean, 1 minute before 2. Oh, my numbers, Jesus. I mean, 2 hours. It's going to be 1 minute before, or a few minutes before 3 p.m. out here in California. This is giving me a little bit of motivation to log in. But now I know what I'm dealing with. Now I'm like, okay, so those algorithms, let me ask. I feel like something's missing. I feel like something is missing. Let me see how I word this question. Ouch. Something is missing. Okay. Oopsie. Let me see something. Hey, Gemini, as it relates to webcam modeling and now webcam sites using algorithms to place models in particular, places on site, is there anything else that I can do or models can do to ensure that the algorithms favor us and we show up in a particular niche? Because I have long nails, and that fetish is very popular. And I want to know, how do I ensure that my guys will find me?
To get the algorithm to favor you in the long nail/hand fetish niche, you need to provide clear data signals that tell the site exactly who you are. 1. Optimize your profile data. Algorithms in 2026 act like search engines. If your profile is incomplete, you won't rank. Specific keywords. Don't just say pretty nails. Use high intent terms like long natural nails, acrylic fetish, nail tapping, or hand modeling.
Right.
Niche specific tags. Use tags like hashtag long nails, hashtag nail fetish, hashtag ASMR, and hashtag hand job if applicable. So you appear in filtered searches. 2. Signal activity and freshness. Most webcam algorithms prioritize models who are reliable and active. Regular updates. Tweak your bio or swap one profile photo every few weeks. This signals to the system that your account is fresh and monitored.
Yes.
High engagement.
I don't know if you're still here, Red, but Streaming had just asked all of us to update our profile picture. And I remember I had a picture, my old picture for 8 years. I had it with my nails showing, and the AI assumed that I had a sexual toy or toy because it couldn't recognize that my nails were actually my nails. So I had to get that. I had to email Strip Chat and let them know that my nails are going to show up in the picture because that's who I am, and it's not sexually explicit because they assumed that it was me holding a deal, okay, or a dough, and something to that effect. So I kept having to do my picture over. So I had to actually email them and let them know, can you guys straighten it out? Can a human straighten it out so that you guys know? So now I was able to upload my new and fresh picture. But I also think on StreamMate, I'm sorry, yes, StreamMate, my nails are not in that picture though. I got to do that over because I definitely like being on StreamMate. My nails are not indicated. I'm Exotica Worship, like I'm right here at YouTube, but my nails are not the driving force as much as it is. It's just not in the title, even though I get more nail lovers that come to my StreamMate than I do my Strip Chat. Although Strip Chat, I'm a long nail goddess. It's in the title. And it's kind of weird like that. But, anywho, all right, you guys, I'm about to be out of here. This was good. This was good stuff, man. So thank you guys for hanging in here with me. For those that this weekend coming up, hopefully people are going to want to see this playback of 2 hours of all these yummy goodies that we've shared together. Okay, you and me, Red, thank you for coming through. I appreciate you very, very much. And it lets me know, again, even if being a woman in this industry for so long, that I'm not alone. And I go through my own stuff too. And we're all in this together, as I've always said, right? I threw on my older wig today because my ginger it was just too itchy. That lace front, I can't do the lace front, y'all. So anyway, I'm out of here. You guys will hear me, see me in the next one. I've got to go get something to eat. What am I going to eat? I need to lay off this sugar, man. Salt, sugar, all those things. I'm cool on the salt. I've been doing good with salt, but sugar got me like, that's how when you guys see me puffy, inflamed. Sugar, sugar, sugar. I love candy. I love all the sweet stuff, and every now and again I really start craving hot Cheetos. I won't even say they're my favorite chip. It's just that it just, I don't know. I guess I got a premenopausal tongue. Our taste buds. Anyways, let me get out of here, you guys. One little kisses. You guys will hear me and see me in the next one. It's been a blast. We did that. It's been a blast. Just kidding. And yeah, bye for now. Kisses. Mm-mm-mm.